I need my Jeff Hardy music. I want to talk about why I feel like marketing is probably the most important skill you can learn for your life. It's a highly transferable skill that works for any industry, any market. And if you kind of understand the fundamentals and how this shit works, you can make money in any economy. You can make money in any business. You can start any brand and make money. And if you manage your discipline, if you learn how to systemize, you learn everything else that comes with it, with running a business or building a brand, you can make a lot of money. There are people making millions of dollars just from starting TikToks, drop shipping stores, shooting skits, reacting to videos. And a lot of it comes down to understanding or having a somewhat understanding of marketing, the kind of principles behind it. Which, I mean, that's a section of it, but a lot of it is just like taking action and moving forward and making progress. That's what it really comes down to. Because if you ain't going to do that part, the marketing, it ain't going to do you no good to understand what hooks do well, how to create content, how to create a funnel that convert. None of that shit helps if you're not going to take action. But if you were going to learn any skill, marketing would be at the pretty fucking high on that list. Because no matter what you do, because there are so many different pieces of marketing, as you continue to learn them, those skills begin to stack on each other. And you see how to apply them in different areas of your life. Whether that's in a side hustle, trying to grow a brand, trying to grow a faceless page, providing services, coaching, whatever you're doing. If you understand marketing, you can make money in pretty much any industry and any niche. A lot of people don't really have a full understanding of what marketing is. They think just by posting or putting out content, passing out flyers, that is enough marketing. But it's a lot of different pieces that come with it. Marketing is basically just understanding psychology. What causes people to take action? A lot of people focus on the metrics or the numbers, which is cool. You can focus on followers, you can focus on views, but at the end of the day, if you can't get anybody to take action, if nobody feels compelled to do anything after watching your content, after seeing your sales page, if nobody decides they want to do anything, you don't really understand marketing. You just know how to put out content, right? But so when it comes down to it, marketing is really, it's about understanding people. Like I said, in psychology, it's about understanding what causes people to take action. And for a lot of people, the majority of them, what's going to cause them to take action is emotion. So if you understand what emotions people are dealing with, what emotional triggers people have, you can cause people to take action with the content you create and with the words that you write. It sounds kind of bad, it sounds manipulative, but I mean, that's how the game works. That's how business works. That's how capitalism works. That's what every business is doing. They understand that people have a problem, they understand that people have a need, and they create something that solves it. They put something in front of them that solves it, and they tell them in a very compelling way how they help them solve it, or how our product or how their service, how whatever it is, it helps them solve them. This is anything from food, restaurants, to chiropractors, dentists, even somebody with an OnlyFans. They're solving a problem, and the better they can speak to a specific audience and help them solve that problem. Oh, your wife doesn't care. Oh, you have this fetish, or you're into this. Come to my page. I got it for you. Like, that's all marketing is. Understanding people's problems, what's causing them issues, what's causing them grief, what's making them suffer, what desires they have, what future they want for themselves, and how can you provide that to them. Now, if you don't want to feel scammy or feel salesy, then the product you aim to solve and the solution you should provide should be built with integrity. If you are providing something that you know people need and that you know people have a desire for, like one of my favorite brands is Can Apparel. They the ones that create the hoodies, the satin line hoodies. They knew there was an issue. I remember when I started growing my locks, I was like, yo, I need a beanie with like the satin line. I typed that under a post and they commented back like, yo, we just got some in stock. Go check it out. They understand that people with textured hair, people with a certain type of hair can't just put on a beanie and it just be cool after. They understand that having a satin line beanie is more effective for a certain group of people. They understood a problem and they created a solution. They don't have to feel spammy or feel salesy about promoting that or talking about it, because they know you're not going to feel like I got over on you. You're not going to feel like this product was undervalued. You have an issue with keeping your hair looking nice. You want to be able to wear a hoodie and not have it messed up. We have something that can help you solve that. If you need it, cool. If you don't have to buy it. So if you feel spammy or you feel like you don't want to be salesy, it might be because you're trying to provide something that you know people don't really need or that doesn't provide any value. That will be the only reason why. Because if you have something that people need, there should be no reason why you wouldn't want them to try it or you wouldn't want them to have that product. You wouldn't feel bad about it because you know you're providing a solution for people, not just finding a way to get their money, which is what a lot of people do. So watch out for them scammers. So when you understand your audience, you're able to put marketing material or content in front of them that it allows them to see themselves in your brand. One of the biggest issues that new entrepreneurs deal with is that they try to make themselves the hero. They inadvertently either try to make themselves or their brand the hero of the story. They try to make them the key focus of it. But any expert in marketing will tell you, there's actually a book called The Building a Story Brand, and it's all about breaking down the concept of making your customer the hero. Remember, it's about understanding people and their problems. You don't solve people's problems by talking about yourselves. You don't solve people's problems by making them focus on you. You solve people's problems by providing solutions that they need. And the way to help them see that you have the solution they need is by using your marketing and using it to connect with them. This is why memes are so powerful. This is why memes get shared so much. It's because it's something short and simple that's easy to digest, and it allows the person who sees it, when they connect with it, they want to share with other people. Oh, this is me. Oh, this is you. Tag somebody who reminds you of this person. Send this to somebody who acts like this. It allows you to connect with a piece of content really fast, as opposed to where like it's a video, whether that's a YouTube video or a podcast, you have to listen for a while or you have to watch for a while before you're able to realize that there is a connection and kind of start building from there. So if you think about it, long form content is really great for building a more personal connection. You're spending a lot more time with this person. They're listening to you a lot more. They're watching your videos for a longer period of time. There's something called the mere exposure effect, where basically the more you're exposed to something, the more comfortable you become with it and the more you trust it. So long form content is great for building a deeper connection. But if you want to build a fast connection, a meme or like a short reel or a tweet, those allow you to build a connection a lot quicker because that content is a lot easier and faster to digest. That makes sense? And that actually plays into understanding how funnels work and kind of like the different levels of getting people's attention, then nurturing them and building a relationship with them. Why it's important to start with very broad, kind of top of funnel content is what you call it, and then kind of guide them to your longer form and more in-depth content so that you get their attention up here with a quick meme or reel, and then they check out your newsletter, and then they check out your podcast, and then they check out your YouTube. And then after they've consumed enough, now they've seen you enough, they've heard from you, they trust you, now they want to work with you more. How else can I work with you? How else can I get more content from you, right? But you'll never get that with only like surface level content, if that makes sense. The next biggest issue that people have when it comes to marketing, and something that's really important to understand, is the importance of clarity. So a lot of people focus on trying to be flashy or trying to be cute or trying to be complex for the sake of being complex, or making things more complicated than they need to be. But all that really does is drive people away. And this is both in how you present your content or your marketing or your value, whatever it is, how you present that by over explaining, by doing too much, trying to use big words. People usually over aim with that. When it comes to your content, when it comes to your marketing, you want it to be extremely clear. You want it to be very clear on what you do, how you serve, what value you provide, the steps you took, whatever it is you're trying to get across to people. You don't want to make it confusing or make it hard to understand. You want to make it extremely clear and easy to understand. So the easier it is to understand, the less barrier to entry. By being overly complicated, by trying to solve too many problems, by trying to talk about too much or trying to do too much, you end up pushing people away. And in a bad way, not in a good way, because there is a good way to do it, which I'll talk about in a second. But people just want to know, can you solve their problem? What are you going to give them? That's one of the most important things to remember. Anybody who comes to your page, anybody that views your content, they have a what's in it for me mentality. 99% of people that are looking at you, especially from a consumer standpoint, even from a competitive standpoint, they're looking at you with a what's in it for me mentality. So you want to make sure your content is very clear about what's in it for them. What are they getting from this? What value is this providing them? Why is this important? How can they apply it to their life? How can they use it? Like, you want to make sure that's very clear and upfront. A lot of people kind of bury the lead or talk themselves out of possibilities or out of potential by putting too much fluff, putting too much extra shit. When really, if you just lay out very clear and direct, this is what we do, this is what we provide, here's how we can help you, we have this, we have this, we have that, it makes it a lot easier for people to get in, because people don't get on social media, they don't open content to overly exert themselves to think more. Most people want to be entertained, they want a little bit of education, a little value, they want a little value, but ultimately they want what's best for them. People are looking for more for themselves. So when your content can kind of convey that and provide that value, it becomes a lot easier for them to decide to follow you or to decide to check out your products or buy from you. But also, when it comes to clarity, your content should be clear on what it provides, but it also should be very clear on who it's talking to. This is another big issue that a lot of people deal with, because they're usually very broad on who they're talking to. It's very, this is for creators, this is for entrepreneurs, if your back hurts, if you are a mom, if you want to lose weight. Yes, those are specific in a sense, but they're still very, very broad in the sense of the world. That's still billions of people who might want to lose weight, billions of people who are a mom, billions of people who, maybe not billions, it might be billions of people that want to be creators or entrepreneurs. You're talking to too many people. So when you're able to get very specific, it takes that clarity from a 10 to 100, because now it's not just about, oh, this content is valuable for me, oh, this is helpful if I want to lose weight. But if that content is for moms under 25 who just had their first child and are trying to figure out how to balance their life and get back in shape, that's going to speak much more clearly to an avatar than just content about losing weight or content about moms for losing weight. And the more you're able to speak directly to a specific audience, the more successful you'll be, especially in the beginning. People like to work with specialists. They don't want to work with generalists. Think about it like this. If you had a custom built, refurbished 1990 Mustang 5.0, right, with the gold Dayton, if you had that and it got to an accident, or if it broke down, if there's an issue with the engine, are you going to take it to just any old mechanic? You could take it to just any old mechanic. You could just take it to some guy up the street. Or if you look online and you find somebody who specializes in restored vehicles and they specialize in 80 and 90 model Mustangs, if they specialize in that, you're much more likely to go with them, even if it comes at a premium. If this is something that's really important to you, if this is something that means a lot to you, if there's a deep emotional connection, you're much more likely to take it to that person who specializes in doing exactly what you need. You're much more likely to go to the person who specializes in helping moms lose weight. You're much more likely to go to the person who specializes in helping new college students navigate university and internship, as opposed to somebody who is a generalist who does a little bit of this and does a little bit of this and they work with these people and work with people. You're much more likely to go with that specialist. So when you can put out content and marketing and speak to a specific demographic and speak to a specific audience, but even more so a specific person, like speak to somebody so clearly like that they feel like you're talking to them. When you're able to do that, your content does better, your sales go up, everything improves when you are extremely clear on who you're talking to and the problems that you solve or the solutions you provide. That makes sense. Next issue that a lot of people have is just a matter of putting in reps, a matter of practice. Most people either give up too soon or they don't try enough. If you look back on your content and you put out less than 50 pieces of content for the year, you're not even close to where you need to be. There's 360 days in a year. You didn't even hit a third of that, but you want to be a content creator. There's no way. It doesn't work like that, because there's always going to be somebody who's doing more than you. There's always going to be somebody who's more consistent than you. There's always going to be somebody who got started earlier than you, who's working harder than you, who had better opportunities than you. There's always going to be somebody out there better. So if you aren't practicing enough, if you aren't putting up enough shots to make a sale or to go viral or to get followers, if you're not getting yourself enough opportunities, of course it's not going to work, because you're not just competing against yourself, which is a big issue. You're in competition with everybody in your niche. You're in competition with everybody that's not in your niche. You're in competition with Netflix. You're in competition with Apple. You're in competition with Target, with Walmart. You're in competition with everybody. Everybody that's putting out content, selling something, has a subscription. Anybody that's putting something out, you're in competition with. So sometimes you have to be realistic with yourself and understand, I'm not doing enough. I haven't put out enough. I haven't taken enough shots. I haven't put up enough attempts to even know if this works or if this is going to be good. I need to try. I have to do more. And then once you start doing more, you have to do it for longer. Doing the thing, it's the easy part. It's the staying consistent and building the habit that takes time. And then as you do that for yourself, it's going to take even more time to build up an audience and build up trust with that audience and get them to the point where they want to subscribe or they want to continue watching you or they want to support you. Like, all of that takes time. But if you aren't showing up, and if you aren't showing up consistently, every time you disappear for a week or a month or 2 months, you kind of reset that trust. You kind of reset that interest. They found something else came out, new person started putting out content, something else came across their timeline, and you aren't there to be top of mind and be like, hey, I'm still here, my business is still here, my brand is still here. With as much content and as much options for entertainment and distraction as there is out here, people are being pulled in different directions every day. And if you aren't staying top of mind by putting out content and showing up for your audience, they're going to forget you. They're going to forget you and they're going to lose that trust for you, because it's like, well, you weren't here, but this person has been showing up every day. This person has been putting out content. Like, where are you? And I know that from personal experience, because that was a big issue I dealt with. And it ended up causing me to take a step back and like kind of reassess and get everything in alignment so that I can continue showing up consistently for my audience and my brand and my business. It was very clear to me that without the proper foundation in place, I was going to stumble or fall off, or I wasn't going to be consistent, or I was going to get distracted and not focus on this and not want to do it. I was able to understand that. In order to make sure I was able to stay consistent long term, I had to make sure I had the foundation set in place. Sometimes you have to take 2-3 steps back so that you can get 10 steps ahead. That's okay. Just be real with yourself about it and give yourself deadlines and benchmarks. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this done by next week. I'm gonna do this by the end of the year, get this done so I can relaunch and be started again next summer. Like, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to work on yourself, get things realigned, get things figured out, reset your goals. That's okay. But just don't let that turn into a never-ending cycle of you putting things on hold and pushing back your goals and your dreams, all right? And then the last thing people usually have issues with when it comes to marketing is they find something that works once, or they find something that hits really quick, and then they just stick with it, and they never test it, they never try anything else, they never switch it up or try and get better. And a lot of times this will come after you've copied something from somebody else. So you saw a reel that worked for somebody else, you saw a content style that worked for somebody else, you saw a business that worked for somebody else, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna try that, I'm gonna do that. And then you try it, and it might work a little bit, or you might get like some quick success, but then it falls off, or it stops working, or you don't know how to fix something, you don't know how to make an adjustment. That's why it's really important to not just find something that works, but continue to test and tweak and refine and make adjustments so that you can improve it. This is when you really have to start focusing on certain metrics, as far as like things like conversion rate for your landing pages, hooks for your reels, subject lines for your emails, images or videos for your ads, which ones are converting the best, which ones are getting the best results. I shot this reel with this hook and it did really well, so let me use the same video and try it with a different hook and see if it was the video or if it was the hook. Okay, the hook didn't work over here, let me try it over here with this video. The reason this is important is because once something works, once something hits, it becomes less effective. It's going to reach a point of max effectiveness before people get desensitized to it, or other people start hopping on and stealing it or copying or imitating it, so that it increases that desensitization and its effectiveness. So like when people started putting captions on all their reels, that was something that like popped and worked really well, especially if you were doing them a certain way. That was really effective for some creators, so other people started taking it and using it for themselves. But as more and more people started doing it, it became oversaturated and people became desensitized to it, so it became less effective. And this just continues to happen. Something new will get introduced to the market, whether it's a business model like the digital marketing wave that happened, or the drop shipping, or like certain hooks, like people are starting with the camera up here, like coming around, swinging it to the front, like different hooks. It'll work, it'll come in, it'll take the market by storm. The first couple people that try it are going to be really successful with it, and then as more and more people do it, it's going to become a lot less effective. And that's just how things continue to work. So if you find something that works, and then you only keep doing that, and you keep doing that for the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line, you're still doing the same thing. What worked back then isn't going to work now. And it's a big reason why I started over with this whole channel, with the content that I created, with my strategy, because a lot of it was based on stuff that I've built up over the years, and not me focusing on the now and what looks like it's going to be working in the future, not being willing to innovate and try new things. We end up getting stuck in that cycle because we get comfortable. We found something that works and we keep picking at it, and eventually it stops being effective. But we don't want to switch up because we've been comfortable with this and it's worked in the past, so we just want to see if we can keep trying to get it to work. But that only works if you're trying out new things and iterating and refining and being innovative. Like how they say the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, which is not the definition of insanity. Although I think they might have modified the dictionary to incorporate that, but that's not the definition of insanity. But yeah, those are probably like the most important lessons when it comes to marketing and kind of having a foundational understanding. Because when you understand that all marketing is solving people's problems, providing a solution for them, you're able to look at business different ways. You're able to look at products different ways. You're able to look at what people are struggling. You might hear somebody say something in the store. You might have an idea while you're driving. You might be in the shower and be like, I hate using towels. This is nasty. So I'm going to create a little hand mitt washcloth thing that's kind of like a loofah, but it's not, so I can use that instead because people like that better. So I'm going to create a little hand mitt loofah thing, and next thing you know, you've created a product that inadvertently solved a shit ton of people's problems. And it's just by understanding that people have issues that they know about or don't know about, and the best way to build a business, the best way to sell a product, the best way to sell a service is by providing a solution for people. That makes sense? I hope that makes sense. But yeah, if you want some tips on how to continuously improve with your marketing real quick, don't focus on learning, focus on doing. Learn the basics, learn the principles, learn kind of like the frameworks, the basic understanding, and then start doing the shit. Because you're going to learn a lot more from doing than you ever are going to learn from studying or watching videos or taking courses, buying a bunch of ebooks. You just end up in this kind of repetitive cycle of expanding the amount of knowledge you have, but not actually making any progress. So it feels good in the moment because it feels like you're making progress, but when you actually look up in 6 months, you haven't really done anything except fill your mind with a bunch of information that you probably forgot most of anyway. So focus on doing instead of learning. Number 2, look at what's working for people who are successful, both in your industry and outside your industry. Look at big brands, look at small brands, look at local businesses. Look at people who are not only succeeding but thriving and doing really well, and then see how you can implement that, how you can add it to your business, add it to your brand, add it to your content. Whether that's from type of content they're creating, hooks they're creating, business models they're using. See how you can implement that for your business or your brand. But make sure you avoid pivoting too much. It's okay to make adjustments, but when you make massive pivots and you go from shipping to faceless pages to UGC to affiliate to ASMR, whatever, when you make massive pivots, all you're doing is hitting a reset. You have to start over. You have to learn how this business model works. You have to learn how this system works. You have to learn how this process works. So when you can make adjustments instead of massive pivots, it allows you to continuously make progress as opposed to continuously restarting everything. That makes sense. Steady great marketers. Some of the top people I've learned from: Nehemiah Davis, Ian Dunlap, Master Investor, even though it's more about investing. A lot of business gems, a lot of entrepreneur gems. Justin Owens, New Age CEOs, Alex Hormozy, Russell Brunson, owner of ClickFunnels, Dan Locke, Adam Earhart on YouTube, and Gary Vee. Top people I can think of off the top of my head. If you want to learn about content, marketing, and social media, go watch all the videos on the pages. And then you can also watch this playlist that I have up here where I put together like some of my top videos about marketing. But like I said, I don't claim to be an expert. I'm just somebody who studied this shit and done a couple things over the past couple years. Next tip, focus on one channel at a time, whether that's your TikTok, whether it's your Instagram, whether it's your YouTube. Focus on one platform and just get really fucking good on that platform. Don't spread yourself too thin early in the process. You can't give 100% to everything. You're just going to end up giving bits and pieces here and there and then not having anything to show for it in the end. Focus on one, get really good at it, find success with it, and then as you do, start to branch off and expand. And last one is create content daily. Try to get in the habit, make content a part of your daily routine, whether that's recording B-roll, writing an email, writing a script for a piece of content, recording a reel, recording a talking head, creating a carousel, whatever you're doing to put out content. Focus on creating something daily. Writing something, this can be super short, something really quick, but the better you get at writing, and it's more so copywriting, understanding psychology and how to elicit emotion with your content, with your marketing, with your tweets, the better your content is going to convert, the better you are going to be able to sell, the more followers you're going to get, the more subscribers you're going to get, the more views, the more engagement. The better you get at creating good content that connects and builds relationships or provide value or entertains, the better you can get at that, the more successful you're going to be. And as you continue to do it, and if you apply all the principles I mentioned earlier, which is understanding people and their problems, using storytelling to connect and build a relationship and nurture your audience, focusing on clarity over creativity, staying consistent, and testing and tweaking. If you focus on those and continue to practice every day, you're going to be 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times better than literally everybody else out here. And you're going to understand that what you do in this business, what you do with this brand, you can take and do it for other people. You can do it for other brands. You can build different brands once you understand how all the different pieces work. And if you need help with that, put it in the comments. Let me know. I'll create a video or a training, and then just focus on getting better and constantly improving, filling those knowledge and information gaps. But yeah, that's all I got. Make sure to hit the subscribe, hit the like, do all the things, you know, the thing. All right.